What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Venum Shield Pro Boxing Gloves. Alright folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today is the conclusion of our Venathon. This is day 12. I hope you have enjoyed this series as much as I have. I know it's been fun to edit these and get a lot of your comments about Venum's gear. I really do think as a brand that they reach everybody from beginner to pro, and they do have some good stuff out there. I think Venum's also a brand that kind of gets a lot of love from some and not a lot from others, and that's how a lot of brands work. But Venum, for me, is like the Everlast of the MMA and kickboxing world. You got to spend a little bit more to get some good quality stuff, and these are no exception here. These are the Venum Shield Pro boxing gloves, the last pro boxing glove by Venum I have yet to review. Years ago, about 6 years ago, I reviewed the Venum Hammer, which is the puncher's gloves by Venum, and then I just reviewed the Venum Giant 2.0, which is the perfect in the middle glove, and these are the shields, and just like the name suggests, they are the protective gloves that you want to protect your hands. You can see here just by the shape of them, they are a bit thicker than the other two gloves, and they also have more of a rounded surface to really protect your knuckles. And based off the descriptions on the website of what the gloves are made out of, it is a very thick pillow puncher's glove that is really great to keep your hands safe, keep your sparring partners safe, and overall great training experience to make sure that this is a great defensive minded glove that really protects your hands. Actually, you got guys like Vasily Lomachenko that trained in these a lot, but he fought in the hammers if memory serves. And you've also seen other guys like Mike Tyson train in these before switching to the Venum Giant 2.0, which has his own logo on it now too. You can buy that on the actual website, which is awesome. With that said, guys, let's go ahead and go into the actual review and talk about the exact model I have for you today. I got these gloves in the 18-ounce weight. I got them in the red and black colorway, and I also got them in the hook and loop closure. Now, you can get them in a lace-up closure too, because they are a pro boxing glove, so they will, of course, have that option. You can also get them in 3 different colors. You can get them in black and gold, which is my personal favorite, but I wanted to change it up, so I got the red and black here. You can also get them in white and black too, some of Venum's standard colors that you see throughout their entire lineup. You can also get them in a couple different sizes as a pro boxing glove. They go from 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18 ounces. I decided to go with 18 because that's what was available to me, and I went with the hook and loop closure, though I do wish for all 3 of the Venum boxing gloves I went lace up, but the lace ups were not available. The other thing I'll warn you about is that it says on the website, if you get the 10 and 8 ounce gloves, it replicates the fight glove feel that you could actually compete in, whereas the 12 through 18 are actually training gloves, and the padding does change a little bit from what it says on the website, so be wary of that. So if you want a glove for like 8 or 10 ounce bag work and pad work that works good to replicate the fight glove feel, get the 8 and 10 ounce, but 12 through 18 is the padding that is consistent with actual training for like bag work, sparring, all those fun things. Now, when it comes to the model that I have, one more time, I got them in the 18 ounce red and black colorway, and I got them in the hook and loop closure. When we go into the actual look of the glove, you can see that all the pro boxing gloves really do have a bit of a different design. You don't really have the big snake on this like you do with the Venum Giant 2.0, but as you see here, and that's really reflective, you have the Venum going throughout there, and that's the back of the glove is that black. You can see here, you got that big red stripe, you got the top one separated by the black, and then the Venum is outlined there. The only thing I'll say is you can definitely feel more of the texture here, and you can see some of it fraying off a little bit, which is in the you can see that little white piece there. See that in a couple of pieces of the glove, but not really a whole lot of it is flaying. or flaking off. You see a little bit kind of here, that red towards the tip of the fingers is. So it's definitely more of like a painted type feel to it, but it does have a nice look and design to it. I don't think it means that it's not effective at all. Red, honestly, on gloves does do that quite often. And I've actually seen that in a lot of other gloves I've had that are red. For whatever reason, red paint does flake a bit quicker. It could just be the properties, I don't know. But as you can see here, again, you got that Venom there. We go over to the top, you have that nice Venom in red there on the black in the middle of the lines there, and the line goes all the way to the base of the glove here, which is really nice care of design, which is great. When we go over to the actual thumb, you can see that's where we got our classic Venom snake, but it has that nice black reflective leather there, but you have that nice red Venom snake there, and you got the details like you do on the back of the Venom Giant 2.0. When you got here is you got a black thumb attachment. That looks really good, and just like the other pro boxing gloves by Venom, it has that nice split two-tone palm going on there. You got the red palm on the right side of the glove, and you got the black palm on the other side, but you have red piping to tie it all together. That'd be cool if they were able to split the red piping and the black piping, but I've never seen any glove pull that off, so that'd be something. Watch, I say that, and some glove will do it now. And now you got the black Venom logo there. That's a snake, and you got the fangs hanging off there. And then when we go down here, you can see it says 18 ounces on that part of the wrist. Usually when you open it up, I believe it says leather somewhere. It does not, actually. I thought it said leather somewhere, but it should. It did on the Venom Giant and on the Venom Hammer, but it doesn't on this one. Interesting. Did it fade off? Yes, it did fade off. Haha. Good thing I looked. You can see here, it says leather there. So again, red kind of like fades off more than any other color I've ever seen. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but I'm not making that up. That happens quite often. But you can see there, it says leather, just to tell you it's made out of a really nice, genuine cowhide leather. When we come over, oh, it says it here, it's like faded off a lot on this one, now that I look for it. Sorry about that, but anyway, you come over here, and just like the Venom Giant 2.0, you can see that we have a rubberized patch, only this is red. It says Venom with a couple stars at the top and bottom. You can see here it says Venom Pro Boxing right down there. Again, it says 18 ounces on the side in that red stamp. Makes it look really nice. The actual stitching on the palm is all black, but when we come over here to the, I just saw, oh, on the actual piping here, which is red, it's red stitching. And there was another part that was red stitching that I am now missing. Sorry about that. We come over here to the base of the glove. You can see here that we got the red piping there. You have a Venom tag on the inside here, which is cloth, which is in black and white. And when we open the glove up, again, you have a little tag that basically says it's 18 ounces and that it's a Venom product, and you have a black interior lining. So overall, basic looking glove, but at the same time, Venom does everything fancy. You know, that nice reflective material on the red, and you can see how the ring light really engulfs that. I don't often do this, but you can kind of, if I shut this off, you can still see how reflective it is just off the lights that I have in my actual room down here. So that's something that I think is cool to point out. So when it comes to the actual build of the glove, let's talk about the outer shell. Just like the other pro boxing gloves, it is Argentinian Napa leather. And to explain it to you, it is full grain Argentinian Napa leather. Full grain is basically the hide that they take off the animal and they use it the way it is. And top grain is below that. Top grain is when they take the top layer of that hide off, so it's more uniform to work with. In this case, in full grain, it is a very soft, supple Napa leather. They took it off the animal and they let it go. They tanned it. It has some inconsistencies, which you can see, which a lot of full grain leathers do. They will not have a complete uniform approach. That's what you have here. Napa leather is a type of leather that you see a lot in cars, and they use Napa leather because it's usually sweeter, supple, and, well, sweeter scent. That's not really why they use it, but it actually is, because you got to think you want a car to have that new car scent. But what I will say about this is it has a sweeter scent, it's softer, and it's more breathable, which is great for cars, especially luxury cars like Cadillacs that will use a Napa leather too. And the reason why is because you want to lean in it, you want it to be comfortable, soft, and let the foam itself underneath it breathe a bit. That way it doesn't kill the foam either. That's what you have here, and you have that throughout the entirety of the glove, down to the piping that you see here, the actual leather on the back, and you can see all the really nice natural grain marks and some of the inconsistencies like this. This is a grain on this glove, but I guarantee if I showed you on this one, you do not see the same grain. It actually looks like a different grain, which tells me that is a full grain leather, and the way that it's thick. I mean, you have a very thick thick amount of leather that you can pick off this, which is a nice full grain leather. And again, Napa leather, very soft, which is great for this glove because this is the softest glove that Venum has. This thing feels like a big puffy ball, and I'll talk about the padding in a second, but that leather all throughout is very soft, supple, and it's nice and broken in, and it feels absolutely phenomenal on your hands when you're running over it. Really good quality, full grain Napa leather, can't beat it. When you go ahead and go into the padding, that's where we talk about, and you know, the website's not very direct. It says 3 layers of this, 4 layers of this, 5 layers of this. What it sounds like is that there's 4 to 5 layers of high density open cell foams, and it says EVA foams, but either way, EVA is, in some cases, it can be closed cell, it can be open cell, but all I can show you is this. It is super soft and it snaps back. There is a rubber sheet in this, as it says as well, and that's just a little bit of latex to let it snap back. But what it shows is all the foam stacked on top of each other. So it has like 13 millimeter foam, 15 millimeter foam. Let me just describe what it all means. There are 4 layers of foam on the inside, 3 of which are open cell, high quality foams. And open cell foam is like mattress foam. Think about that. So like you have memory foams, high density foams, and those all cradle your knuckles and really soften it. Some people in the boxing world would just call it a sponge or sponge foam. That's basically what you have going on here. It really is protective over the knuckles because of how soft it is, and because of this, when I push in here, you see how it doesn't cave into the knuckles and it kind of cradles around where my fingers are? That's the nature of the foam itself. It cradles your knuckles, so it actually protects it. Some foams just cave in on the knuckles, some foams go over it, some foams go on top of it. This one cradles and hugs it like this. So see how my hand's like this? It's hugging it this way. So it keeps it nice and protected, and it also really keeps the pressure off your knuckles when you punch. So when you sink into a heavy bag, you feel yourself sinking into the soft padding of this glove, but not the heavy bag and not your sparring partner. I've not once felt the outline of my knuckles hit anything but the padding on the inside of the gloves here. What's nice about this is, although it's a pillow puncher's glove, it has thicker, spongier foam than, say, a Winning does. Winning has spongy foam, but it's more like a rounded foam that kind of deadens everything upon impact. This gives you a bit of a snapback on it, which is nice, because you do have some latex on the inside of the glove, and you can tell based off of the way it bounces back. But you can also maybe potentially see the middle of that kind of breathe out, and you can also hear the air from that padding leave, which is always good. That's the nature of open cell. The cells on the top of it are open, so it breathes in and out, allowing the foam to actually breathe instead of staying smushed and never coming back. Whereas closed cell foam means that it smushes, but it stays in that shape. It doesn't necessarily smush at all. It actually resists everything. That's why closed cell foam is what's used in bag gloves, because you're hitting an inanimate, hard object. Whereas this would break apart faster because it's open cell, and eventually it'll keep smushing and not retain its memory. Now, the nice thing about the foam on the inside of this glove is that it retains its memory very well. And it feels really good, and that's all one solid mold up at the top here of those 4 layers of foam. Again, it says 3 layers of very high quality shock absorbing foam that's softer, and then there's 1 layer in there I assume is a latex foam. If not, there's a 5th layer somewhere of that EVA to keep it safe. But overall, the glove, super soft, very protective, and you can also see that the shape of the glove is a bit more rounded to kind of create distance between your knuckles and the target itself, so that's always good. So it feels really nice on the back of the hand, and that's one thing I love about this glove. Going into the thumb, you can talk about this thumb being just as soft as the rest of the glove, which some people may not like, but I personally like it because you're able to kind of move your thumb around, and it's also very soft towards the tip of the thumb as well. So when you're pushing in here, even if you were to smash your thumb, which I've never had with these gloves, it really gives you this nice pillow texture to the tip of your thumb, keeping it nice and protected. You also notice here that it has a split thumb, and the reason why is because most boxing gloves will have like this type of padding here, and then the thumb is separate so you can have a nice natural fist position, and so your thumb is a bit more separate from the rest of your hand, so you're able to open and close separately, which is always good. It also helps sometimes because you put a new type of leather on top of it, but a lot of foam molds don't even have the thumb. They have the thumb separate, and if they do, they still stitch it separately. That way it's more freedom and mobility, which feels good. Now when we come over to the wrist support, you can see here that we got a big piece of foam both at the bottom and the top here. It's more of a stiffer EVA foam, and as you can see here, there's not anything really stopping this part here. There's usually a piece of foam that bridges the gap, but the idea between this glove is that the padding is so thick that none of that shock will even get down to the wrist. I can confirm in my hands anyway, that's actually true. It's never happened for me. I can nail the bag as hard as I want. I can nail the side of a brick wall, and this glove will not let me get hurt, is basically the idea of it. Don't try that, though. Anyway, when it comes to the wrist strap, it's a pretty nice wrist strap that's on the outside compared to the Venum Giant 2.0, which is on the inside. I prefer this more in this case because it keeps it nice and taut on your hand, which is good. And just like the Venum Giant 2.0 with the palm, you have a little bit of EVA foam at the base. Again, just kind of to hug your arm a little bit more. It doesn't really pad your forearm in the way that you might be thinking. And the grip bar is just as soft as the top of the glove, if not softer. So it's a very soft grip bar. And the one thing I like that they fixed is that this glove is even softer in the thumb area. The thumb piping feels really, really good. And it doesn't really put pressure on this inside of my thumb here. I hate when that happens. If you ever push in between here, it hurts. Don't do it if you don't want to feel that, but that's the idea. But again, you got that really thick EVA foam here, and you also have really thick EVA foam in the center here. Almost feels like a gel padding almost at the base. The interior lining is, again, just basic nylon. It doesn't feel like a poly satin or anything like that. It's just a basic nylon lining. And when you put your hand here up the upper part of the lining here, you can feel one of the soft layers of foam right there, which is awesome. Now, when I put my hand in, slides in perfectly, and guys, just look how soft that glove is. It comes pretty much broken in like this off the jump. And again, I can kind of feel like the outlines of my knuckles right here, but when I punch, my knuckles don't touch. It just feels like I'm punching a really soft piece of foam on the inside of my glove. The grip bar feels absolutely outstanding. And again, I wish I got the lace-up closure because this here, again, pops out a little bit. But it gives you such a nice grip, solid grip. And on top of it, although it's a puncher, not a puncher, it's a pillow glove, it gives you a really nice feedback. And you're able to rip really fast with these because of how heavy and top-heavy this glove is. Again, if you had the Velcro, of the lace-up closure, I think it'd be a lot more balanced. So again, that's my one regret. I wish I got the lace-up version. But super protective, the back of the wrist. Like, I'm banging here with my elbow and I don't really feel that. I feel it a little bit on the corner of my thumb, but the thumb doesn't have as much padding as the back of the hand, so I give it a pass here. And even the padding on the base of the wrist here feels really, really solid. It overall is a very protective glove. I love how flexible it is. You can open and close. Like, for me as an MMA guy, I love doing big glove MMA rounds in these because I can get solid grips in these. My thumb, I can't really get around because the thumb's staying fixed, but I can get solid grip on the wrist, back of the arms, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Feels absolutely outstanding. My my fingers do crawl out a little bit, and it makes you feel like the glove wants to go down a bit more sometimes, which is a little annoying, but besides that, it doesn't really do a whole lot of that for me. I might have to do that once or twice a training session, but not all the time. But very soft punching feel. Now, is it as protective as like most Japanese gloves? I don't personally think so, but it's still protective nonetheless. Like, I'm doing this, and again, I don't feel that on my knuckles so much, but you can definitely feel the outlines of them, which might freak some people out. But in general, I think it feels really protective. It stops a lot of the shock from going down to the wrist support. And on top of it, they're huge. You're able to parry really easily in these, redirect, maybe get a handle on someone. And then on top of it, they're big enough to where you can really protect yourself. So maybe you're doing like a Philly shell type of defense. It catches the whole side of your face. So it's a really nice defensive glove. For me, I put it in that nice category of a pillow puncher, which is a nice category to be in for me because I personally love pillow punchers. I like gloves that can really protect me, but also really pack a wallop at the same time. And that's basically what you got with these. But let's go ahead and go into the bag work, then we'll come back with my final thoughts. When it comes to hitting the heavy bag with the Venum shields, like I said, although they're the most protective glove out of the Venum Pro lineup, they have a really nice puncher's pop to them, and they really recoil off the bag really well. On top of it, they have that nice forward punching pressure. I think that's more or less because it's top heavy, because you don't have the laces. I would have preferred to get the lace ups for all of them, but at the time, what was in stock were the Velcros. But overall, very protective. They open up really well, the parry and catch punches. The grip that you get with clinch is great for MMA and kickboxing, so if you're doing any type of sport that involves a clinch, these are awesome. But I get a really nice thud whenever I hit the bags with these, and you feel like your knuckles are going into the soft padding of the glove, not actually piercing through to the bag itself. So they are a very protective glove, very fluffy, very padded. Overall, great experience. So when it comes to the look of these gloves, again, like everything else with Venum, it has a really nice and cool design, but these are different from most of the Venum lines that's out there. Instead of having the big snake everywhere, you can see you have the nice Venum logos with the sweeping lines, and you just have that nice Venum that's sublimated into the actual leather itself. Overall, I think the red and black looks really cool. I think this glove speaks for itself. It's a nice professional level glove that has a nice, sharp, pro look to it. All right, folks, my final verdict here for the Venum Shield Pro Boxing Gloves are, out of the whole lineup, I still say the Venum Hammers are my favorite because I am more partial to puncher's gloves, but these are pretty close because for a overall protective glove, they do a really good job, but they're a nice hybrid between a pillow and a puncher's glove. Do I think they're as protective as, say, a Winning? No. Or a Grant? No. But they are definitely very protective, and I've not once really felt an unnatural impact on my knuckles, my wrist, back of the hand, or anything in this glove. So I do think it's a nice hybrid of all of them. I can see why Lomachenko used these in training because he fought in the hammer gloves, but he trained in these, and I could see why. So overall, I really enjoy these gloves. I think they are definitely a pro boxing level glove that you will enjoy if you want to try them out. But with that said, like I do with all other gloves I review on the channel, let's go ahead and go into the positives of the gloves, what I like about them, and then we'll go ahead and go into the drawbacks, what I would change about them, and if I would recommend them for you. Then, of course, we'll talk about my final rating. First and foremost, like I said with the Venum Giant 2.0 and with the Venum Hammers, really well made. For $250, I think that's actually a pretty fair price for the quality of glove that you get. Because you think of gloves in that price range like Clitorea, some rival gloves, think about New Sporting and things like that. Glaz is one that I can think of. I'm looking at Angeles, I think go for more than that. Actually, I shouldn't use those. But there are definitely some Mexican puncher's gloves that you'll see, really high level quality gloves that go for about that like $200 mark that I think is pretty good, or that $250 mark. I think these are right there with them. I do prefer some of those. Let me speak clearly. I do prefer some of those over these, obviously, but these are solid. And then you can also talk about some other brands like Hit and Move goes for like $250 to $279. Now, I prefer anything by Hit and Move over these. That's my personal preference, but I think about a lot of other big brands out there, like some guys might like Top Boxer Alien or Top Boxer Win 1 over these, but those are some exceptions. I'm looking at some others. So like Flies. I like these as much as I like the Flies, I'd say, and I didn't really care for the Flies all that much. But, that's basically what I would say. It's definitely up there as far as quality goes. The leather is really well made. I think the gloves were really tanned well as far as the leather goes, and the overall durability of the gloves a year later feels really good. The only thing I could say is, again, you got like that red paint is kind of flaking off, but if it's just the paint and not the leather itself, I'm not complaining. Red paint does that on like every glove, even the the Combat Corner HMITs, the Thai versions, those really do that. The MMA gloves, the red paint kind of flakes off for whatever reason. So I think that's just a red paint thing. I have tons of gloves that have done that. My opinion. But besides that, they feel really good too. They're comfortable on the inside of the hand. They're so soft. You're able to open and close, get really solid grips, parry well, overall protect your hands very well too. And the wrist support's really solid too, because most of the shock just completely stops once you get here. I also like that they're in that pillow puncher hybrid for me, because you have a really nice recoil off of it, but you feel like you're hitting the soft padding of the glove more than you are the actual contact point, which is always good. Whereas the Venum Giant 2.0, I could definitely feel a contact here or there. Like if I hit the tip of a chin, if I hit the bag really flush, and the Hammers, you feel everything because you want it to when it comes to a puncher's glove. And these, I don't really feel what I'm making contact with. I feel the soft foam, but it really recoils back, gives you a nice punching feel. And for me, when I want to rattle off like 5 punch combinations, these are the glove out of that bunch, besides the Hammers, I really go to. They're really solid with that. They're actually pretty loud on the heavy bag too, which was really surprising. They're pretty comfortable on the inside. There's tons of room for hand wraps for a pro training wrap or a pro fight wrap if you want to try that out. So that's always a really good sign too. And the lining is very easy, and overall the leather is very nice to clean, as most Napa leather is. That's why you see it in cars so much, because I don't see too many people going out and just wiping their car seats down with leather conditioner like me. I'm a psycho, and I don't even have leather car seats. That's how crazy I am. No, I'm kidding. I got leather car seat covers. They're faux leather, I should say, with my new car. But that's a different story. But overall, really well made, really good quality, really good protection of the knuckles. I do think that price point of like $220 to $250 is very fair for a professional level glove. Now, when we go into the drawbacks of it, I think I would have rather got the lace-up version. I think that's my fault, guys, for doing that. For me, I think I just would have enjoyed the balance of the lace-up just a touch more than I do with these, because the front of the glove, like the palm, kind of pops out like this, a little bit too much that I didn't really care for. That was annoying. And I don't often have any jolts in the wrist because it does shock. The shock absorption really catches it all up here. But some people might think they're too soft for a pillow glove, because if you have too soft of the glove, like, do you remember they were heavy hitters? I reviewed those, and I questioned, are they soft enough to protect the hands, or are they too soft to where it's going to kind of creep into that puncher's, like it's going to hurt type thing? They could teeter on that for some. For me, it didn't, but I could definitely see some people saying, well, Al, you said they felt like this, but to me, I pierced right through these things. Very well could happen, so be careful of that. Didn't happen for me, but very well could happen for you, though. That's the way I say it. But, you know, besides that, I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with it. I wish they did like a poly cotton or a poly satin on the inside, or a satin liner compared to just, you know, the basic nylon that you get on the inside here. But overall, really nice grips, really feels good, comfortable, opens and closes, easy to break in, stays broken in, and it's overall a free floating hand. I just wish I got the lace-up version so it would be a little bit balanced, because it is a touch top heavy with this, but really solid wrist support compared. I wish they had like maybe the wrist brace there. That maybe would make it just a little bit better, but overall, I think some people would hate that it's top heavy. For this version, I think if you got the lace up, that would eliminate the problem, because it eliminates the problem essentially for the Venom hammer. As you can see, you're still a little bit top heavy, but when you lace it, it kind of cinches it to the bottom of your hand, so it doesn't really matter. But that's my fault, guys. Sorry about that. But with that said, folks, what is my final rating on the Venom Shield Pro boxing gloves? Well, you know, I gave the Venom Giant 2.0s a A-tier glove. I think these are personally right there with them. I'm going to give these a 9 out of 10, and I'm going to put them as, actually, I'm going to give them an S-tier glove in this case, because I do think they do everything really well, and they're a nice pillow puncher hybrid, and they don't fix your hand in such a tight position. I gave the other ones an 8 out of 10, but put them in the great, because they did everything really well, but they didn't specialize in one thing. These gloves do everything very well like those gloves, but they do things just a touch better in some areas for me. They protect the knuckles just as much, if not way better in some cases. They have the really nice puncher's feel, that really nice sink-in feel, but it also protects your hands. They're really nice when you let a bunch of punch combinations come off, very protective of the hands, and overall, relatively balanced, I'm sure, if you got the actual lace-up version of the glove itself. Really well made in general. I do think that this is an excellent glove. If not, I would also put it in the A tier for great, but I do think it is an excellent pro glove to try out. Are there other pro gloves that I think are better? Absolutely. If you guys want me to make another tier above that, I could, but I think excellent is where I would put these gloves. I've enjoyed them. I used them a lot leading up for my last fight too. I enjoyed these very much, and I still do, and they will be in my primary rotation for a while. Out of all the Venom Pro gloves, I prefer the Shield over the Venom Giant 2.0, but I do prefer the hammers that much more because they are a solid puncher's glove. But folks, as always, I hope I answered all of your questions about these gloves. If not, please comment below, because I know I get kind of confusing towards the end of these, especially I was kind of teetering between the A tier and S tier. I think it's fair to give them the S tier, especially when I give them a 9 out of 10. They are a solid glove. Again, I wish I got the lace-up closure for the balancing issues, but besides that, I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with the glove. I think it performs very well as a pillow puncher's glove. If you need a glove that's a little bit more firm to protect your knuckles a bit, I would look elsewhere, maybe at the Venom Giant 4.0, or wow, 4.0, 2.0, I think might do that just a bit better, but these are their overall protective glove. They're called the Shield for a reason. As always, I so appreciate you guys checking out the channel. I hope you enjoyed the Venathon. 12 videos in a row. Telling you what, standing here in front of this ring light for the last several hours has burned me beyond belief. I've really enjoyed this series. I hope you guys have too. As always, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe, as it goes a long way to help the channel out. And of course, hit that notification bell for more reviews like these. And you will see some new reviews probably about a week after this Venathon is over, because I need a bit of a break from it. Starting a new job tomorrow as of this recording. Wish me luck with that, my friends. And as always, I really appreciate you for choosing your source of combat sports. I've been your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow. And as always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining the Venathon.